Okay, so I've got the second recording started now. So if we want to go forward and build on kind of what Matthias has done, and now how do we put the certificates together? Matthias has given us an awesome option with the generating certificates using a mail merge, and we had everybody. I had emailed out a request for certificates, and so everybody should have a copy of that file, what everybody's certificates look like, and a basic of what they do to make them happen. And so, mostly we're seeing the Excel and Word. We have a few group folks that use the Aceware, which I think does a lot of what Matthias is doing manually through Excel. I think Aceware is doing a lot of that for us using the FoxPro database, which underlies it. But where do folks want to go? What questions do you want to have answered or discussed? Kind of use this as an open forum. Where do we have problems? What do we need to talk about based on now what we've learned from Matthias, and how can we help each other?
I'm looking at all the certificates that were submitted, and I see a lot of people don't put CLE on there. So Matthias, what do you do? I assume that you just create a separate certificate. You keep attorneys separate. Your certificate is separated out from everybody.
Yes, that's correct. One, we ask their background, and if they answer their attorneys, we filter that, and then we keep it separately. But yeah, we do the same work for attorneys, but out of maybe 1,300 participants, we may have 70, very, very few, maybe 60 attorneys. Mm-hmm. But we create a different master certificate for CLE, and we put the program ID numbers given to us by the South Carolina board, Supreme Court. And yeah, it's the same exercise, but parallel.
Okay. I think that's something that Iowa State will have to do in the future just to make life a little easier, is just keep them separate. Right now we put it in there, I think.
And we also do it for the CFP. We ask if they're CFP, and we have a third parallel for the CFP, 16 hours total. And reporting requirements, that's why, I love that Excel spreadsheet that, we can keep everything in one file, and we can see who is what and to whom we have to report. But CLE, we have to I can send it to you, the master certificate that we use for the CLE. And this year, because it was everything online, we had to break it into 3 different program IDs, and it was much more work. But I'll be glad to send that file to you.
And your regular certificate too. I didn't see that in the.
Yeah, I didn't send it. My bad.
So I'd like to get your.
Yeah, I'm away. That's why.
Well, you've been kind of busy getting ready for today, so thank you for everything. For reporting to the IRS, I would like to see. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry, but I assume that your master spreadsheet feeds into the IRS spreadsheet with hours.
I guess the question is, how do you Matthias, how do you transition your data from the Excel spreadsheet to the IRS upload template?
Mm-hmm.
Very simple. Just, let me see if I can show it to you. It's just copy paste,
Well, yeah.
It's I don't know why it will not open. Can you guys see that Excel file? It's just, first name, last name, PTIN, program number. And then again, we do this at the beginning of the year, program number, this is updates. And then completion date, this is the same as in the certificate of attendance, the Word document, and then we just copy paste, first name, last name. Remember that Excel file that I showed you? Copy paste. And then if there are any problems of the return, we create a new one for uploading the ones that had issues. But
Okay.
yeah, no, this is very artisanal, you know. It's, yeah, that from that master file, that final, you know, we filter pitting, yes, no, and then ethics other than 0. Whatever is there, we just copy
Right.
paste and we put it here.
Can you move? I can't see the rest of the, because can I see the rest of the IRS template? Like I can't,
Yeah, let me see if I can put it again. I don't know why it's not.
because you have, yeah, there's this,
Let me see why. I don't know why when I do it.
okay, that's okay.
Yeah, I can send you this as well. This is the,
Oh, okay.
can you see it now? Yeah, it's the
But
basic.
you should have 2 program numbers for each person, right?
Well, the thing is,
Or does it
Angela, right?
repeat itself?
For me to keep it simpler,
It's-
I could bring everything in. I could bring, you know, updates, tax law, and ethics. But what I do is I do
Or 3.
updates first, and then I check whatever is wrong with their PT number or their names.
Gotcha.
I make sure I correct those names or PTs if there are problems, and then
Yeah.
I could put updates of the people that were wrong, and then I do tax law, and then I do ethics at the end.
Okay.
It's just that's the way I've been doing it, and I want to keep those files separate. I don't want to mix program numbers when I do reporting. I want to make sure, you know, we keep it separate for record keeping
Yeah,
purposes.
Okay, I see that. Okay, thank you.
I guess, Angela, so we do it a little differently. I do stack my program numbers. So I drop them into the template, all one program number, or for, you know, if the course is obviously divided into program numbers for IRS. So then I'll drop that group in up top, and I'll do a copy paste, drop them in below, and then drop in the program numbers and upload them all at one time for the whole workshop, basically, on that. So.
Yeah, that's also valid, you know, and that will be only one shot.
Mhm.
Yeah, I stack mine too. Update, you know, and ethics. Usually there's 3
Yeah,
program numbers per
Yeah.
name.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
again, it's what we found, you know, that if, you know, we are audited, we want to show, okay, this is ethics, updates, tax law, and either way is fine.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? So I know going in, we had some questions also from particular groups. Let's see, is Bill still on? Ben Lokren? No, we must have lost Bill. Because he was one, University of Cincinnati uses a PowerPoint file, and then he said he has a grad student that manually goes in and enters people into the PowerPoint file to create the individual certificate. So I was interested in hearing some of his input questions or as well. So the ASWARE group, Kentucky, myself, and Wisconsin, is there any of the questions that we can pull from for that, or do we want to break up into separate groups down the road? Do we want to, is this solving doing what we're wanting it to do? Do we have other questions?
Okay. I would like to at least have a conversation with you, Connie,
Okay.
regarding how you use ASWARE, because I know there's tons of functionality and we only use a piece of it.
Okay. Yeah. And so what I have learned is we learned how to email directly from the database, mass email our certificates out. And so we did, because of putting the issues of getting the IRS numbers in particular into their software, we ended up setting up with had Chuck get on with us and do his magic to the database, and had to do some updates to weigh, since we were coming in behind the fact and adding some stuff. And then that did seem to work 99% of the time. I did have people every once in a while that said, oh, we didn't get the email. Okay, I'll go back and individual email you out. But yeah, I'd be happy to get we could do a separate little session on just to walk through what that looks like. And then everybody can kind of look at their own as well and follow those steps. So I think that might, since there's only three or four of us that use Aceware, if that's okay with y'all, to drop off that, and we'll schedule a separate little session and walk through those.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I'll schedule that with y'all, and that way I can, because I'll actually need to do the webcast from my desktop a little differently, so to make that work. So okay, and I just heard from Kathy Rose, she wants to do that as well. So we'll get the three of us together and do that. So any other questions? I know, so as a new person to our group, Janet McKenna Lowry also is from Massachusetts. She's stepped into the administrative role for Massachusetts, and she's got some background that may be helpful to all of us as well. So I'm going to ask, so I'm looking at the chat box here. So Angela's asking if anybody else used GoToWebinars, and I think y'all were the only ones that used them, Angela, that I know of. So, but if Janet is still on, let's see if she's still on. No, look like, there she is. No, lost Janet. Okay, so I was going to have Janet ask, I think she had another meeting she was going to as well, but I believe she
I'm
told
here, Connie.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Janice or Janet?
Sorry?
Janice from NC State, or are you looking for a Janet?
I'm looking for a Janet. Janet McKenna Lowry.
Nope, sorry.
Yep, that's okay. No, she uses FileMaker, but she's also a data person. So that's what she has done kind of in her outside career, and may be able to bring some unique perspective to us for make sure we're collecting good data, because most all of us have to report our outcomes, and are we collecting the data we need to be collecting in the format that's usable by our institutions, I guess is my other question. So I may circle back around with her and have her do, I don't know, 15, 30-minute session maybe on data collection, make sure we're gathering data that's going to be useful and help our, in our reporting process to administrators what we're doing and how to best present ourselves and help ourselves, even if we can increase our number of participants. Are we reaching out to the right people? How do we find those people? That sort of thing. So that's something else I'm looking at pulling together. So any other questions on any certificates or how to make these work, or wanting a separate session from anybody? This has been awesome. Kathy, you're muted.
This has been great. I love the level of detail, and I feel like I need to watch this again to absorb it more. One question that I had that's not exactly related to what we've been talking about today is, of those of you that did your sessions pre-recorded for online purposes versus the ones that did them live, what's your overall opinion? Like, ours were recorded in advance, and overall, our survey results were positive, but we had a few people that said we would prefer this having been live so we could have questions. I just was trying to get a feel for what kind of feedback people got.
I didn't have anybody really fussing about a live versus pre-recorded, because we had the instructors behind the scenes answering the questions.
But we did
the questions by email, which the email questions came to me so I could weed them out and then push them out to the instructors. And that was our challenge, was getting answers back to folks, because it was just time consuming. So I may look at something different there, but people wanted the in-person, obviously, but that didn't pick up much on pre-recorded versus live recorded differences.
Okay.
Anybody have anything else?
Yeah, we had our instructors on, like when their session was being shown, we had our instructors on there and they answered the questions through the chat box. To,
Okay.
you know, as we went through is how we did it.
We did ours live, but we had the recorded session for people who couldn't attend all 4 sessions. And so they had signed up for the whole thing, but then we had dates where they could come and do the recorded session. I mean, everybody that did the live one really enjoyed it, thought it was great. We got great reviews over that. And the people who did the recorded session were just grateful that they got to take it.
Right. Good. Any other comments?
In our case, Connie, it was the same as you did. The only difference is that the Department of Revenue and the IRS, they didn't want to be pre-recorded, so they did it live. And then we also did the live panel on the last day, 75 minutes. So in that case, you know, those questions that couldn't be addressed, the Q&A during the pre-recorded seminar, they had 75 minutes of live questions to respond. So they really like that. You know, it's a way to give them some interaction face to face. But yeah, it's a challenge.
Yeah, that's a good idea too with the panel, addressing the questions. That's a good way to do that.
Yeah, live.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
This is Adam. One of the things that I will say with the live panel, one of the things that we do is we actually, during the registration process, there's a question on there during the registration process for those that are going to participate in the event, the ability to actually at that point ask a question of the panel. And so that way we're able to get these questions to the panel at least 24 to 48 hours prior to the actual panel, so that if any of those questions require a bit of research, it can already be done. So it's not quite also off the cuff. But at that same time, we will also hold some of the questions that come in during the first day or day and a half of the event, because it's more appropriate to be answered during that panel discussion. So it's just something to kind of think about for that. So it's not necessarily only straight Q&A coming right off the top at that point in time, although that might be a part of it.
Okay. Thank you, Adam. Good information there. I like the thought of being able to get the questions to the panel ahead of time, like you say, for stuff that needs to be researched. Okay. Any further questions? This is good. All right. If you think of questions, email us. Oops, there's Janice coming back in. If you have any other questions, email us. I will be scheduling the ACEware session, and that'll be an interesting to see what compare all our versions and see what we have and not have for features. So I'll get that out to those that our group there, get that scheduled. But and I will work with Janet to get a data collection session together. And if you have any questions, I like this idea. It'll take me a little bit of time. I'll get this up and get it converted to a YouTube and then posted. And that's been a little bit of a challenge for us, trying to figure out the files for example, the January meeting were so big, I couldn't push them up to the website. So we're having to figure out how to make that work so we can make them accessible if somebody wanted to go back and listen to the meeting. So now that we've learned a little bit more, my intent will be this will go to the tax workbook website where you log in, and then that way it's protected. So it's not findable out by the general public. You have to be able to log into that website in order to see that as a member. So I'll send out an email when that gets up, but it'll take me a little bit to get these converted to YouTube, and that way we can get that uploaded and out. So yeah, if y'all have any other questions, let us know. But thank y'all so much for doing this, joining this, and all the awesome input. Matthias, thank you again.
Okay, thank you.
And respecting y'all's time, we'll call it done for now and keep going.
Thank you, Connie.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.